5 years ago, LEGO announced their plans to invest $400 million into their efforts of becoming more ecologically sustainable. This included being carbon neutral by 2022, fully switching to LEGO bricks made of sustainable materials by 2030, and phasing out plastic bags in favor of paper ones. This was 5 years ago, but how many sets have you gotten so far that came with paper bags? I can tell you my answer. 1. So what's going on with LEGO's constant proclamation of commitment against climate change? Is it just greenwashing, or are they actually becoming more sustainable? Let's find out. Now, I need to preface this by saying I'm not a professional on climate change or topics of the like, and while researching this, I realized pretty quickly that this topic is a lot more complicated than I initially thought. Because of that, I'm not going to go too far into the nitty-gritty of LEGO's actions for sustainability, but I want to talk about the parts that will be most interesting for us, the fans. So I will talk about the integration of paper bags, the development in regard to eco-friendly LEGO bricks, and give you a general overview of their goals for being environmentally sustainable. Paper bags have been a big point of discussion ever since LEGO announced their plans of phasing out plastic bags in favor of their paper alternatives. LEGO initially proclaimed that goal all the way back in 2020 when they announced their investment of $400 million into sustainability projects. In regards to packaging, LEGO's CEO, Niels Christensen, said, "We have received many letters from children about the environment asking us to remove single-use plastic packaging. We have been exploring alternatives for some time, and the passionate idea from children inspired us to begin to make the change." Now, I call BS on children writing letters about climate change, but the TLDR of LEGO's much longer statement on this was that they were planning to completely remove any single-use plastic by 2025. When I say that, you might think I'm only talking about packaging, but this also includes plastic used in product, offices, and store. That's a big change, but a very positive one. Back to the current day, 2025. How is it looking with paper bags? Well, it's difficult. Paper bags can be found in LEGO sets nowadays. Focus on the can though, because most sets still do not come with paper bags. As I mentioned, I've only gotten paper bags in a single LEGO set from last year. Even this year's Speed Champions F1 sets didn't come with paper bags. On the other hand, CMFs have completely transitioned to paper boxes, as controversial as that might have been, and so has Pick-a-Brick, which phased out the old cups and replaced them with cardboard boxes. Now, by the way, when I say paper bags, what I mean are paper-based bags. They aren't fully made of paper, given that there's a thin plastic layer to prevent pieces from ripping the packaging. That is still far better than the single-use plastic they included before, especially because these bags are supposed to be recyclable in countries with proper paper recycling infrastructure. But as I said, the rollout has been unfortunate, and I really think that proper communication would have calmed many of the debates around this topic. In my personal opinion, I think paper bags are a great alternative, and the switch from poly bags to paper bags seems to have gone swimmingly, but are they really going to achieve their goal here? I mean, in all fairness, they've still got about 8 months to completely transition to paper bags, but a theme you'll notice running through all these topics is that LEGO might have overestimated themselves with their 2020 declaration. So while it's still speculative whether LEGO will achieve the elimination of single-use plastic by the end of this year, we do know of one area where they experienced major setbacks, being the production of environmentally sustainable bricks. 10 years ago, the LEGO Group started development on LEGO bricks made from sustainable materials. 5 years ago, they announced their push to become environmentally sustainable with their $400 million investment and set a goalpost of 2030 for a full transition to sustainable materials for their products. In 2023, however, they faced a major setback. From 2021 to 2023, they tested the idea of making LEGO bricks from recycled PET bottles. This presented the issue of durability though. Non-oil-based materials are a lot softer, which is why the production of proper LEGO bricks would need more additional components, which would cost a lot more energy. All of this would lead to higher emissions, which is why LEGO cancelled the project in 2023. They have also tested a bunch of other materials, but none of them seem to fit LEGO's standard, which is why they're still using ABS plastic. This wasn't a complete failure though, given their advancements in making ABS more sustainable by integrating more recycled materials, and there are actually already quite a few pieces which are made from sustainable materials. Flexible parts like plants are made from sugarcane, transparent elements incorporate 20% recycled materials, and they are trying to introduce more sustainable, robust LEGO pieces this year. Now, more importantly, I read that they didn't plan on passing those additional costs down to consumers. The question I have then is, why does everything keep getting more expensive while the LEGO company also announces a record number of profits? Some of this doesn't make sense. I think a huge issue here is communication again. If LEGO announced that sets would be getting more expensive because of their investments into sustainable alternatives, sure, many fans would be mad, but it would be an understandable reason. But currently, LEGO makes more money than ever and sets keep getting more expensive. I mentioned it before, but a community manager, and I don't mean LAN members, but rather a dedicated person for community relations, similar to Ben Walk for Battlefront 2 back in the day, would do wonders. LEGO is the biggest toy manufacturer in the world, so this doesn't feel like an unreasonably high request in my opinion. And lastly, I want to talk about LEGO's other investments into sustainability programs. LEGO is praised quite often for their energy politics, since they have and continue to put a lot of money into renewable energy sources to power their factories. For example, they are currently building 2 factories, one in the US and one in Vietnam, which are meant to be 100% carbon neutral, meaning they'll have massive solar parks to provide all the energy they need. This is brilliant. They have a bunch of other programs which also aim at their goal of carbon neutrality, but the truth is, they can only do so much with that anymore. Let me tell you about Scope 1, 2 and 3 emissions. Scope 1 emissions are caused by your production directly. In LEGO's case, this would be the carbon emitted in their factories, on which LEGO has already massively cut down on. Scope 2 emissions include all the energy that is needed for production. This is the point LEGO's targeting with their factory infrastructure and their switch from fossil gases to more renewable energy. Scope 3 is everything else, meaning the emissions caused by the materials they buy, transportation and even the disposal of waste. Now, LEGO has made huge advancements in Scope 1 and 2 emissions in the late 2010s and early 2020s, so I want you to guess how their overall emissions are split between these 3 categories nowadays. Is it 10, 20 and 70%? Is it closer to a third each? Sounds good. Totally wrong though. In 2023, according to LEGO, Scope 1 and 2 made up 1% of their total emissions. Scope 3 accounted for the other 99%. LEGO's overall emissions have actually increased from 2020 to 2023 simply because LEGO sales started to skyrocket, but if we take a closer look, it was only the Scope 3 emissions that increased while Scope 1 and 2 both fell. That is why it's so important for LEGO to transition to sustainable materials for the products and packaging if they want to achieve their goal of net zero emissions by 2050, since the acquired materials and their production make up 63% of LEGO's total emissions. If you're wondering what the difference between carbon neutral and net zero is, by the way, so did I. LEGO want to achieve carbon neutral production by 2022, meaning all their emissions would be offset. By 2050, they're planning to achieve net zero status, which would mean that LEGO would not be producing any emissions whatsoever. In their fight of reaching this insane goal, LEGO has set a benchmark of reducing emissions by 37% by 2032. Even that is incredibly ambitious, given that their emissions actually rose from 2020 onwards because of the spike in sales they've experienced, but it seems to be achievable, especially because in 2023 they've pledged around $400 million annually for 3 years to their fight to an emission-free production. That is great, but also what I would expect from a multi-billion-dollar company. Sadly, billionaires are cunts, so I still have to tip my hat to LEGO. But I also want to say that this fight isn't over and there's more work to be done. LEGO's rollout of these actions has been less than fortunate at times, and clear communication needs to become a priority too. In the end though, I can't help but commend LEGO's fight against climate change. I have other issues with the LEGO group, to which we'll get in other videos, but I hope other companies follow their lead. Check out this video on a good LEGO set right here with the SF24, and other than that, until next time, goodbye.